Hi dancers, welcome to SKR Yoga and Wellness. My name is Sam and today we're doing a class for a full total body deep stretch. So this is a vinyasa flow and we're going to go through this flow really focusing on lengthening and stretching out those muscles. So this is a great class to do if you're feeling particularly sore or you're just looking for a good stretch. So we're just going to go ahead and get started, but before we do, you will need one block for this practice, and if you don't have a block, you can always use a really thick book or a really thick and dense cushion just to help support you in some of these poses. So we're going to start lying on your back. And we're just going to come into reclined butterfly. So bringing the soles of your feet together, allowing your knees to fall open, and trying to fully relax into the hips. So we're not gripping anything here. Really let the knees fall open as wide as they can. And just allow your spine to naturally curve against the floor. So the core is not engaged. We're not really engaging any muscle here. We're just inviting the hips to open up nice and wide. Finding a little bit of relaxation to start. And as we do this, I invite you to place your hands on your belly, just as I am here. And start to invite the breath into a really low place. So as you inhale, try to lift and push your hands up away from you as your belly expands. And then on the exhale, allowing your belly to contract and allowing your hands to sink. So let's cycle through another 5 breaths here, through inhales and exhales, letting the hands float and sink, riding the wave of that breath. End of your next exhale, you're going to bring the knees all the way back up together and just grab that block that you have handy. You're going to lift your hips up and place your block right underneath your tailbone. So make sure we don't experience any pain in the lower back as you do this. It means the block might be a little bit too high. So you really want it to rest right on top of that tailbone. And then from here, you're going to flex through both of your feet and then bring the right knee in towards your chest. And right away, you should feel a little bit of a lengthening and a stretch in front of your left hip flexor here. So try to keep that left foot flexed and engaged. So we're pulling up through the left knee as well. So this stretch isn't quite as passive as the first one. And again, continue to breathe from that really low place. So imagine that we're sending our breath into our hip flexors, into the muscles in the front of your hips, and we're allowing them to lengthen and stretch. And we'll release this side, so bringing your right leg all the way down, left knee in, and same thing, just hugging it in close to your chest, allowing that length in the front of your right hip. Keeping your right leg engaged along the floor here. Also make sure that that right foot is parallel. So you want your toes facing straight up to the ceiling. So we're not using any turnout here. It'll help you to target more into the front of that hip by keeping it parallel. Taking 2 more really deep belly breaths here, sending your breath into the stretch. And go ahead and release that left leg back down. And you can lift your hips up, remove the block from under your hips. And we're going to make our way up to all 4s. So knees right under your hips, hands right under your shoulders. And we're going to cycle through some rounds of cat and cow. So on an inhale, allowing your back to arch, looking up towards the sky. And on an exhale, pulling the belly button into your spine, curving. And again, inhale to arch and look up. And exhale, curve. One more round. Inhale, looking up. Exhale, curving. Now on our next inhale, we're gonna look up into our cow position, and then you're gonna bring your hips and your focus to the right. Exhaling to come into cat position. And then inhaling, bringing your hips and eyes to the left, coming all the way up. We'll do that again. Exhale, making a circle with your head and tail, all the way around. Last one here to the right. Exhaling to come into cat. Inhale to circle up to cow, and we're gonna reverse the circles now. So looking to the left first, and curving. Inhale to arch. Twice more, just like this. And last one. And once you get to the top, bring yourself back to a neutral spine. Feel your belly button pulling into your spine. And we're gonna walk the hands out, tuck the toes, and push yourself up, finding our first down dog of the class. So as this is our first down dog, be sure to walk your feet out if you need it. Bend and stretch your knees. Shake your head out, yes and no. Just give yourself a moment to really settle into this posture here. And on your next inhale, go ahead and lift your right leg up and allow that hip to open. So we're turning out the top leg, reaching it all the way up to the sky, and then you can allow that right knee to bend so the heel is reaching towards your left glute in a little bit of an attitude position here. And again, just feel that hip opening up. We'll straighten it back out again. And on your next exhale, swing it through, place it between the palms. Palms lift up off the mat, finding runner's lunge. So it's important in this position to make sure that your front foot is totally parallel. Your front knee is right over top of your ankle. And we also want to make sure the core is still engaged here, so we're not arching through the back, keeping the core engaged, tucking the pelvis under so that we're in optimal alignment with the spine. Your back knee might bend slightly, which is totally okay. Now from this position, you're going to grab a hold of your left wrist, and on an inhale, you're going to grow and get taller. On an exhale, take this wrist and your upper body over towards the right side. So we're finding a little bit of a side body stretch here, and you might also feel this into your hip flexors. Remembering, as always, to breathe deeply, sending your breath into where you feel the stretch the most. And on your next inhale, coming back up to center, we're gonna open up, flip your back heel so it's parallel to the short edge of your mat. Arms are reaching out to the side. We're only here for a moment. We're gonna exhale, reach the right arm up and over, finding our reverse or dancing warrior here. Important in this position to make sure that your right knee is opening up right over top of your right ankle. Breathing into the stretch. Feel the outside edge of your left foot in contact with the mat. And on your next inhale, we'll come back to warrior two and then push into that front knee. And then we're just gonna toe heel your back foot in ever so slightly, so your feet are a little bit wider than hip width distance apart. But keep the feet the same, so the back foot is parallel, front foot is turned out more or less. Now from here, you're gonna bring your palms to face the front of your mat here. Hips are gonna go back, and then you're gonna take your upper body all the way over into triangle pose here. If it's comfortable for your neck, you can look up towards the ceiling, otherwise you can keep your eyes forward. Breathing here, feeling the side of your body working to hold you upright. Now you can place your right hand on your shin here, just for stability, but make sure we're not putting any weight into that hand. And then from here, we're gonna circle the arm up overhead, take it all the way down, and then on an inhale, reaching it back up to the sky, and you can open up slightly to stretch into that, the front of your chest. And then exhale to bring it down. Inhale, bring it up and stretch to the front of your chest, opening up to the sky. Exhale, bringing it down. Inhale, opening up. And then last one, exhale, take it down. Inhale, breathing it up. Now take that arm directly over top of you once more. And on an inhale, we're gonna push to stand. Hands on your hips, square off your hips to the front of your mat. And to do this, you're gonna wanna turn your back heel at a 45-degree angle. Inhale, grow and get taller through the spine. Exhale, pitch from your hips forward. So we're finding a flat back. Now try not to lock through your front knee here. So keep a little micro bend in that front knee while we find this long position of the spine. And on your next exhale, release. Allow that spine to curve over your front leg. And just breathe into the stretch here. Try to release through the neck. Allow the weight of your head to pull your body over. And from here, you're gonna place your left palm down onto the mat, right hand onto your hip. And on an exhale, you're gonna twist towards the right. And then if it feels comfortable, you can add that right arm on top of this line here. So we're finding a revolved triangle position. Try to keep your hips square towards the front of your mat, so we're not swinging in the hips too much. We'll be here for a couple more breaths. And on your next exhale, release that top arm down. Place it on either side of your foot, and we're going to step back to a plank position. Just holding here for a few breaths, finding a little bit of fire in the core. Feel that belly button pulling into your spine. Feel yourself pushing the floor away from you. Glutes are slightly engaged here. And on your next exhale, bending your elbows in chaturanga. Inhale, pushing through to upward dog. And then on your exhale, tucking the toes, finding downward dog once more. Feel your spine nice and long, from the base of your tailbone all the way up the crown of your head. Feel your shoulder blades wrapping around your rib cage. Deep belly breathing. And we'll continue onto the left side. So on your next inhale, lifting that left leg up, turning it out, opening up that hip. And then bend through that knee, almost into an attitude position, allowing the hip to relax, to open up. And you might feel a little bit of a stretch through your quads here as well. And on your next inhale, straighten through that top leg. And exhale, swing it through, step between the palms. Arms float up overhead, finding runner's lunge. Remembering to keep the core engaged here, no arch in the lower back. And if you have to bend through that back knee slightly, that's totally okay. And from this position, you're gonna grab a hold of your right wrist this time. Inhale, reach it towards the ceiling, grow taller. Exhale, bending towards the left. Feeling that stretch through the right side of your body and into your right hip. One side might feel very different than the other, which is okay. Just make a mental note of it. Check in with how you're feeling. And on your next inhale, coming back to center, opening up now to warrior two. So flipping your back heel parallel to the short edge of your mat. Arms reaching long. We're not here for a while. We're going to exhale, lift that left arm all the way up. Finding reverse warrior or dancing warrior. Make sure your shoulders are nice and relaxed here. Breathing through the stretch on the left side of your body. And on your next inhale, coming back to warrior two, before we push into that front leg to straighten. Toe heel your right foot in. So we're in a bit of a narrower stance. Palms flip to face forward. Hips go back, and then we're going to take our upper body over. Finding this nice triangle position. long line from the tips of your right fingers all the way down to the tips of your left fingers. And we'll go ahead and anchor that right hand down onto your shin, making sure there's no weight on it. And on your next exhale, starting your arm circles here on the second side. So opening up through the front of the chest. Exhale, arm comes down. Inhale, arm reaches up and open. Exhale, circling the arm down. Inhale, arm reaches up and open. Exhale, down. Inhale, reach. And last one, exhale, down. Inhale, arm comes up to reach. Center that arm right over top of it once more, and we're going to lift back to stand before we place the hands on the hips and square ourselves off to the front of the mat. So make sure you wrap that right hip all the way back around to the front. Inhale, grow and get taller. Exhale, pitch from the hips here, forward, maintaining this long spine. So feel energy coming at the back of your tailbone and out the top of your head here. Keeping a micro bend through that front knee. And then on your next exhale, release forward over that front leg. And just allow the weight of your head to pull you over. Your spine will curve slightly. And notice how these two positions of your back feel different in your legs. How it affects this stretch, whether we have a straight flat back or whether we have a curve hanging over the front leg as we are now. And we'll plant the right palm down beside the left foot, left hand on your hip, and on an exhale, opening up, twisting towards the left. And then if it's comfortable, adding that left arm up overhead. So finding this really nice twist through the upper spine and still maintaining that nice stretch through the front leg. Breathing deeply here, as always. And on your next exhale, release that left arm back down onto the mat. Frame that front foot before we step back into that plank, and we'll hold here once again for a few breaths. Feeling nice and strong and solid through the core. Feeling that little bit of engagement. And on your next exhale, coming down to chaturanga. Inhale, pushing to upward dog. And exhale, tuck the toes. Push yourself up to downward dog. Take a second to notice what's different in this down dog, if anything feels different comparatively to the first down dog at the beginning of class. Now that we've done some sequencing on both sides, just check in, see how you're feeling, see how your body is feeling. And remembering to breathe nice and deep. Now from this position, let's walk the hands and feet into the center of your mat. Finding a nice bend, nice plie through the knees. Feet are about hip width distance apart. Still allow your head to hang over your legs here. And then let's deepen your plie, and you're gonna curve up through the spine, rolling nice and slow to come all the way up to stand. And we're going to turn to face, well, I am going to turn to face alongside of the mat. You can stay facing wherever you are facing, but we're going to incorporate a little bit of balancing into our stretches as well. So what I'd like you to do is just standing with your feet a little bit wider than all the way together, so a little bit narrower than hip width distance apart here. And then from here, you're going to transfer all of your weight over into your left leg. And as you do this, really lock eyes with something that's not moving in front of you. And then you're gonna lift that right leg all the way up and grab a hold of your big toe with your two-piece finger. So with your pointer and your middle finger, and your thumb will wrap around it as well. Your left hand can come onto your hip. And on an exhale, you're going to extend that right leg out in front of you. trying to maintain a straight supporting leg as well. And if you need to bend slightly through that extended leg, feel free to do so. What's more important is that we actually find a stretch through the supporting leg. So you want to be pulled up through that knee, pulled up through that hip, and then stretching through that extended leg. And I don't know about you, but I definitely always feel a stretch through the back of my extended leg as I do this one. Holding for 2 more breaths, and then to come out of it, bend through that extended leg and very softly place back on the mat. So we don't want to clunk out of that position, taking it nice and slow. Locking eyes again with that unmoving point in front of you as we transfer our weight onto the other side, so onto your right foot now. And then lifting your left foot up, grabbing a hold of that foot with your 2-piece fingers and extending that foot out. Remembering to fully stretch through that right leg, so your supporting leg. Trying as best as you can to straighten all the way up through your spine. And again, feeling that nice lengthening through the back of your extended leg. And even if you do have a bend through that extended leg, you should still feel a lengthening through the hamstrings. But just because the leg isn't all the way straight doesn't mean it's not working. And on your next exhale, we'll slowly bend that extended knee, place the foot back down, and then we're gonna open up nice and wide here and turning your feet out. So toes are out, heels are in, and we're gonna come down to goddess pose, or as many of you may recognize, just a nice deep second position plie. Making sure your knees are right over top of your ankles. Our spine is lifted, pelvis is right underneath you. And from here, you're just gonna place your hands in front of your chest. Keeping your eyes forward so that we can maintain this nice tall spine. Remembering to breathe. We're here for 2 more breaths. Keeping those knees opening. And we'll release our hands down onto your knees. You're gonna drop your right shoulder down in front of you, just finding a little bit of a twist here. You can allow your eyes to look towards the side here as well. And coming back to center, rotating the left shoulder forward now. Feeling that nice twist. Coming back to center, from this position, you're going to turn in and let your body fall forward. So finding this fluid motion to transition into your forward fold. Just allow your spine to hang over top of those legs. Now feel free to stay here or clasp your hands behind your back and extend through your arms out behind you. Try as best as you can to keep your palms drawing towards each other. So you want to try and keep your palms totally together. Something I struggle with a little bit. Breathing deep into your belly here. And if your hands were clasped behind your back, just gently release them back down onto the floor. And from here, you're gonna toe heel your feet in, just ever so slightly, coming to a turned out position. So kind of like an open first, you could say. And then you're gonna allow your hips to sink all the way down towards your heels. Bring your palms together and then take your elbows on the inside of your knees and just push them open. So there's no engagement through the glutes here. There's a little bit of engagement through the core, so you want to feel that your abs and your belly button is pulling in towards your spine. And you should feel a nice opening through the hips here, and perhaps a little bit of stretch and a little bit of lengthening through the back of your Achilles. This is Malasana, or Yogi Squat. Taking 2 more breaths, And we'll release. We're going to make your way towards the front of the mat. So walk your hands and your feet out to a plank, and then just lower yourself back down onto the mat. So you're lying on your belly here, bringing your forearms onto the mat in front of you, and just allowing your spine to arch here. So this is Sphinx pose. Try to keep the tips of your fingers pushing into the floor, your palms pushing into the floor. And you want to make sure that your shoulders are not creeping up into your ears, but that we're pushing the floor away from you and finding a little bit of engagement through the arms that way. And the closer you bring your elbows to your body, the deeper this stretch will be. The farther away, the less intense the stretch will be. So it's up to you. You can gauge how far or how close you would like your elbows to be. Feel your belly expanding and contracting as you breathe here. And from this position, you're going to take your right forearm, place it at about a 45-degree angle. And then from here, you're going to bend into your left leg, rotate around so you can grab that left foot, and then just gently pull that foot closer towards your glute. And make sure that you're still pushing the floor away from you in that right arm. I just caught myself sinking a little bit. So you want to still keep pushing yourself away. If you feel any compression in the lower back, ease off a little bit. So maybe move your elbow farther away from your body, or don't pull your foot quite so close to your glute. Always remembering to breathe. And to let go of this, we're going to very gently release that left foot back down, and we're going to go right away to the other side. So taking your left arm now at a 45-degree angle, pushing the floor away from you, and bending into that right foot, rotating, grabbing a hold of it, and then very gently pulling that leg, that foot in towards your glute. You should feel a nice stretch through the front of your quads here. You might even feel a little bit of a stretch through the front of your chest on the right side as we do this. Still breathing, feeling that belly expand on the floor. And we'll very gently release that foot back down. Now, bringing your upper body all the way down onto the mat, you're going to bring your you're going to bring your right arm to about a 90-degree shape on the floor here. And then you're going to take your left hand and you're going to place it right underneath your shoulder. Now from here, you're going to bend through both knees and then roll onto your right side. So your right elbow is bent at a 90-degree angle. And then by pushing your body over to the right side, you should feel a really nice stretch through the front of your chest on the right side. You can keep your left hand where it is, or if you like a little bit more of a challenge, you can bring it back behind you. I always find that a little bit too difficult for me, so I like to keep this hand here just to keep it stable, and I can really focus on releasing through those muscles in the front of the chest. This is a really tight area on my body in particular. I hold a lot of tension here. And we'll very gently roll back onto your stomach, and we're going to do that same thing right away on the left. So finding that 90-degree angle with your left arm, place your right hand down underneath your shoulder, and then flipping onto your left side this time. You can let your head relax onto the floor, and just breathing into that length and that stretch. Feeling this expansive feeling in front of the chest. Whatever variation you did with your supporting hand, so in this case your right hand, try to repeat that variation on this side, so if it's behind your back or if it's supporting you in front of you as mine is now. Taking 2 more deep breaths here. And gently roll back onto your stomach. You're gonna straighten through those legs, place both hands down, and send your weight back, finding a wide-legged child's pose. So toes together, knees apart. Let your arms fall forward, your forehead melts onto the mat. And just breathing deeply here. Allow the spine to curve. Allow the hips to release close to the heels. Now from this position, just walk your hands over towards the right side of your mat, and then just let your upper body release back down onto the floor. Should just find a little bit of a nice stretch along the left side of your spine. Just stretching through those extensors. And we'll walk the hands now all the way over to the left side, and then allow your forehead to melt back down. This time you should feel the stretch on the right side of your back. And walking your hands back to center. You're gonna come up slightly, and then just bring your knees together for this one. So we have one more little spinal stretch in our child's pose here. You're gonna place the top of your head flat on the floor and grab the back of your heels. So the crown of your head right against the floor. So you're really tucking your chin here. And then on an exhale, you're gonna push the hips up, maintain that connection with your heels. And you're basically pushing your hips up, trying to get them over top of your head. But make sure that we're not putting a ton of weight into the top of your head. So most of your weight is still in your legs here. The purpose of this rabbit pose is to find a little bit more flexion through the spine and to find a little bit more of a stretch through the upper spine, which we don't always focus on. Hold here for 2 more breaths. And release your hips back down to your heels. Just let your arms relax beside you. And we'll take a couple more centering breaths here. And very slowly roll yourself back up to a seated position. And we're gonna come to a straddle, or a wide-legged seated position. So sitting on your mat, opening up your legs to a wide second or a straddle position here. And now we're just gonna come into a forward fold, and we're gonna make this totally passive. So don't worry about having to keep your knees pulled up and engaged, or pointing or flexing the feet or anything like that. Just keep your legs totally relaxed, and we're gonna fold forward, and we're gonna hold this position for about a minute. So it's gonna be a little while. So make sure that we're breathing, and I have included my block because one of my favorite things to do is to use this to rest my forehead on. You can do the same with a block, or if you also have a book or a cushion, anything that you have lying around the house will do. So go ahead and set yourself up, get comfy, relax through those legs, and we're just gonna fold our upper body forward. And so the idea here is that we're being very, very passive. So next to no engagement through the legs. We're more or less allowing gravity to do this work for us into the deep stretch through the inner thighs. As always, remembering to breathe really, really deep. Feel your belly and lower back expanding in all directions. Let's take another 5 really deep breaths here. And very slowly, very gently lift your head back up. Walk your hands in. And gently bring your legs back together and rolling all the way down onto your back. And keep the soles of your feet flat against the mat. And then you're going to lift your hips, place them just ever so slightly over to the right side. Cross your right leg over your left, and then just allow your knees to fall to the left. Arms can be 90 degrees out beside you, and your eyes and focus are going to go towards the right. We're in this little spinal twist here. Make sure that both shoulder blades are flat against the floor. You might feel a little bit of a stretch on the outside of that right hip. And if you do, remember to breathe into it, to invite length. And next inhale, power the core to bring the legs back to center and bring your hips back right underneath you. You're going to flex through that right foot, place it over top of that left knee. Grab a hold either behind your thigh or in front of your shin on the left side, and just softly and gently pull that left leg in towards you. Make sure as we do this that your right foot remains flexed, so that we protect the right knee from any kind of rotation. And gently place that left foot back down on the floor. And you're going to shift your hips over to the left. Cross your left leg over your right this time. And then allow your legs to fall over to the right. Arms can open up. Eyes go to the left this time. Both shoulder blades flat on the floor. Breathing into wherever you feel this the most. Really feel this twist coming from your navel. Still trying to send your breath down into your belly. Inhale, power the belly to bring the knees back up. Bring your hips back to center. Flex through that left foot, place it over your right thigh, and coming into your figure 4 position. Stretching through the glutes on the left side this time, keeping that left foot flexed. Very gently pulling that right knee even closer towards you. And we'll release. Coming into Shavasana, so allowing yourself to take up space. Let your legs open up, arms nice and wide. Feet can open, so you can find a little bit of natural rotation here. then let's continue focusing on sending the breath in towards your belly. Taking a moment to check in with yourself, see how you're feeling after that long practice. Notice how you feel different from the start of class to now. We'll take another 10 breaths here, breathing deeply. Start to wake yourself back up by wiggling your fingers and toes. You're rolling your ankles and wrists. Allow your head to fall from side to side. And in your own time, whenever you're ready, rolling onto your right side and slowly pushing yourself back up to a seated position. And once you've made your way to the seated position, bringing your hands together in front of your heart, and we'll all bend forward. Namaste. Thank you so much, dancers, for doing this practice with me. I hope you're feeling nice and lengthened and stretched out. If you liked this video, please do give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to SKR Yoga and Wellness. I release new videos every single Friday. So that is all for today. Thanks again.